Good morning, children. This is a recap that is going on, a revision. We have already done this lesson earlier, that is Mother's Day by J.B. Priestley. So, this is a revision since it is a very important lesson. Today, we'll do the summary of Mother's Day. So, let's begin. Mother's Day is a play by J.B. Priestley. It is a satirical and humorous depiction of the status of the women, in particular a housewife in a family. That is a position of housewife in a family. Moreover, a housewife dedicates all her time in the service of her family, but her family takes her service for granted and never takes notice of her deeds. So, a housewife, what does she do? She does so much of work. She dedicates all her time serving her family members, takes care of them. Yes, but what does she get in return? The family never takes things for granted and never takes notice of her needs. What are her requirements? What does she want? They never bother for all that. The family never acknowledges her services or thank her for all that she does for them. They never show their gratitude for all that she does for them. In fact, they keep ordering her, do this, do that. Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? All such things keep happening. Everyone neglects her, and this issue is prominent and relevant today. Yeah, today also in some of the families, this is very much there. Many houses out there sulk and suffer in silence. That is the lady of the house. She doesn't protest, does not say anything. Also, the issue the play raises is genuine. It is true. The issue can't be set by mere changes of the personality of husbands, sons, and daughters. So, in order to give wives the praise they deserve, the family needs to give them the desired attention. Yes, they need the desired attention. They need to thank her. They need to take care of her needs. So the chapter portrays the practical experience of a mother, Mrs. Pearson. In this chapter, who's the mother? Mrs. Pearson. On a daily basis, her kids disrespect and disregard her. It is a matter. It is a everyday affair. Every day this keeps happening. Her kids, children, son and daughter, they disrespect her, disregard her, never express their gratitude. In her own home, she was treated as a slave, like a servant. Thus, she felt a lot of ignorance and embarrassment every day, not only from her daughter, but son also. But also from her husband, George Pearson, who had completely turned a blind eye to his wife. He never bothered to ask her requirements, her needs. No, even the children did not bother. Mrs. Pearson's life changes when she meets whom? Mrs. Fitzgerald, a fortune teller, and she's of course her neighbor also, and discusses her family members and their terrible behavior. So what does Mrs. Pearson do? She discusses with Mrs. Fitzgerald about the behavior of all her family members, about how she's treated in her family. So she discusses with her. She tells Mrs. Fitzgerald all about them, everything about her family behavior, because she has to know, isn't it? Moreover, Mrs. Fitzgerald, who is strong and a sinister personality, she is very strong, a stern lady she is, recommends her to exchange personalities. She recommends to teach her family a good lesson. So, at first, Mrs. Pearson didn't agree, but after some encouragement from Mrs. Fitzgerald, she agrees. She says, okay, I'm ready to exchange personalities. She agrees to switch bodies, means to exchange bodies. So finally, she agrees to switch bodies. After that, Mrs. Fitzgerald casts a spell. Spell is something magical, and swaps her personality with Mrs. Pearson. That means what? The exchange of personality happens here. Again, what does it mean? Mrs. Pearson becomes Mrs. Fitzgerald and Mrs. Fitzgerald becomes Mrs. Pearson. This is temporary, of course. In a matter of seconds, their personalities switch, and Mrs. Pearson, who was calm and composed, is now smoking and drinking. Now she has become fierce and stern like Mrs. Fitzgerald, not scared of anyone. And Mrs. Fitzgerald, what is she doing now? She is now sitting idle. The scene changes, and now Mrs. Pearson is in her home. And who enters now? Doris enters home. She hands her a dress, a silk dress, and asks her mother to iron, as she has to go on a date with her boyfriend, Charlie Spence. So she says, iron my dress. But that is not the way you speak to your mother. Also, she even objects her mother's smoking. She does not like. Because earlier she never did that, isn't it? So obviously she doesn't like that. And when she asks her, Mrs. Pearson replies very harshly and advises her to do her work herself. She says, no, I am not going to do for you. You better do your work yourself. Further, she makes fun of her boyfriend. Afterwards, Doris feels miserable and shamed and starts crying when her mother insults and rebukes her. So she makes fun of her boyfriend, she scolds her. So Doris feels so bad. What does she do? She starts crying. And who enters now? Her son Cyril enters now, asks his mother hurriedly if his tea is ready, on which Mrs. Pearson refuses and advises him to prepare it himself. After seeing his mother's reaction and his sister crying, he raises his voice. He shouts, also calls Mrs. Fitzgerald an old hag, on which Mrs. Pearson tells him to mind his language. When the kids talk about being worn out means, tired actually. She makes it very clear to both of them that they all will work equally from that day onwards. And she will not work at weekends and enjoy with her friends. So she makes it very clear that weekend she is not going to work, she is going to take rest, she is going to enjoy with her friends as everybody does. So at that point, Mr. Pearson enters the house and expresses his surprise on seeing his wife drinking and smoking. He's shocked to see his wife doing what? Smoking and drinking. She has never done that earlier. So obviously Mr. Pearson is shocked. He objects. He doesn't like it. He expresses his dislike. Mrs. Pearson makes him realize that if he can drink, then she can too. So she tells her husband, if you can drink, why can't I? Mrs. Pearson, on seeing her family insult, asks Mrs. Fitzgerald to stop all this. However, she doesn't let her speak until she teaches all of them a good lesson of respecting and honoring their mother. Soon after, they switch personality again. They come back to their original personality. And after that, the son, daughter and husband learn their lesson and start supporting the mother and wife. So now she has taught them a very good lesson. Now they do not misbehave with her. They do not ill-treat her. Okay. They share their responsibilities equally. So she has taught them a very good lesson. She has put them in the right track where they were supposed to be. Through the Mother's Day summary, the writer wants to say that we all should respect, care and help our mother for all the hard work she does for us. So this is a lesson that we learn from this beautiful story, Mother's Day. So we should take care of our mother. We should take care of her needs. We should respect her. We should show our gratitude to her for all that she does for us. Morning till night, she works and works and works for who? For all of us. But in some households, what happens? They do not respect the mother. The husbands do not respect their wife, which is very wrong. So obviously, what will be the condition? The condition will be like it is here in this story, Mother's Day. Mother will be disappointed, mother will be unhappy. Yes, so that should not happen in any family. Basically, that is what the writer tries to bring out. That is why he has given the title Mother's Day to this particular story. So children, please note down this summary in your notebooks. Read it at least 2 to 3 times with proper understanding of the lesson. Otherwise, you will face a lot of problem in the examination. And this is a very important lesson from the point of view of examination. So this is your assignment actually. Write down the summary, read it again and again. And you should know the meaning of every difficult word that is there in the lesson. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Goodbye.